There's not a single country in the world without debt. Not one. The United States alone now owes over $38 trillion, the highest level in its history. The European Union carries around $14 trillion. Japan is close to $9 trillion. Oil-rich nations like Saudi Arabia, export powerhouses like Germany, manufacturing giants like China, all deeply in debt. So an obvious question appears: if everyone owes money, who exactly is getting paid? This is Secret of Money, where money, power, and history collide. And a small warning: nothing is ever as simple as it looks. Debt isn't just a burden, it's the skeleton of the modern world. Wars, crises, booms, collapses, all of them stand on invisible stacks of "I owe us." Follow the chain long enough and you hit something strange. The world doesn't really owe money to anyone. The world owes money to itself. But that doesn't mean everyone benefits equally, if only it did. Today, total global debt has passed $315 trillion. That's nearly 3 times the size of the global economy. So how did we get here? To answer that, we have to rewind. Long before credit cards, long before digital transfers, the idea of national debt wasn't born on Wall Street, it was born on the battlefield. The year is 1694, England is at war with France, gold reserves are running dry. The king is desperate, so he turns to merchants. In exchange for permanent interest payments guaranteed by taxes, the financing of the crown moved into private hands. To manage this new system, the Bank of England was created. And right here, history changed direction. The state could now spend money it didn't yet have. And lenders received something priceless, the promise of the government, a promise that could be bought, sold, traded. That promise became the government bond, the seed of the modern financial system. France copied the model, the Netherlands refined it, and the newly independent United States adopted it to fund its revolution and later expand westward. National debt was no longer a sign of weakness. It became a measure of credibility. The ability to borrow became the ability to govern. Empires once conquered land to extract gold. Now they issue bonds to extract interest. The battlefield became a balance sheet. Fast forward 3 centuries, debt is now the world's largest export. Global borrowing grows by nearly $1 trillion every 100 days. The machine never stops. Every country is in debt. Every bank lends. Every citizen, through taxes, savings, and pension funds, is both debtor and creditor. So who's holding the other end of the rope? Let's start with the United States, because its debt isn't just national, it's global. Most U.S. debt is actually owned by Americans. Banks, pension funds, investment funds, and the Federal Reserve itself. Foreigners hold the rest. The largest foreign creditor is Japan, then China, followed by the United Kingdom, Luxembourg, and Belgium. So when people say America is in debt to China, that's technically true. But it's only a small slice of the picture. Most of America's debt belongs to America. The Treasury issues bonds. Funds buy them. The Federal Reserve often buys them back, creating new dollars in the process. Americans pay taxes. Those taxes pay interest. That interest flows into American retirement accounts. A perfect circle, a hall of mirrors. And this loop isn't unique to the US, it's global. Japan lends to the US through treasuries. The US lends to Europe through the IMF. Europe lends to developing countries via the World Bank. Those countries then park their reserves back into Western bonds. It's a planetary game of hot potato, except the potato is made of promises. Everyone holds someone else's IOU. Every promise is backed by another promise. The game only works as long as no one leaves the table. But there's another layer, the most powerful one, the markets. Behind every government bond stands a massive network of institutions, hedge funds, pension giants, sovereign wealth funds, central banks managing tens of trillions of dollars. They are the real referees of credit. They decide who borrows cheaply and who must pay punishing interest just to survive. Democracy decides who governs. Markets decide who survives. At the center of it all stands the high priest of the modern age, the central bank. Central banks don't just manage debt, they create it. Every time they buy government bonds, they create new money in return. One balance sheet's liability becomes another's asset. There is no such thing as debt-free money. Every dollar in circulation corresponds to a debt somewhere else. Every coin, every bill, every digital balance carries an invisible IOU. For decades, this system survived on trust. As long as investors believed governments would pay interest, even if the principal was never repaid, the machine kept running. But when trust breaks, the system cracks. We've seen it before. Greece, Argentina, Sri Lanka. When debt becomes unpayable, creditors suddenly appear. The IMF credit rating agencies, anonymous bondholders tightening the grip. And yet, even after collapse, the logic resets. New loans replace old ones. Debts are restructured and the machine restarts. Because in the 21st century, debt is not designed to be repaid. It's designed to be rolled over. Governments don't plan to eliminate debt. Not now, not ever. This isn't a conspiracy. It's policy. Debt works like a subscription service. There is no cancellation, only renewal. New bonds pay off old bonds. Interest becomes the real product. Government bonds aren't treated as liabilities, they're treated as the safest assets on earth. Pension systems depend on them. Banks use them as collateral. Central banks treat them like money itself. The system depends on governments never fully paying their debts. Because if they did, the world's most trusted financial instrument would disappear. Debt has become the heartbeat of modern capitalism, pulsing through every mortgage, every pension, every market. So when politicians promise to eliminate national debt, they're selling an illusion. The goal is not to destroy debt. The goal is to keep it manageable, sustainable, and attractive enough that faith never breaks. Because once belief disappears, the numbers stop mattering. That is the real secret of sovereign debt. The plan was never to repay it. The plan was to keep the world believing it would be repaid. And when we say we owe the debt to ourselves, that is only half true because interest flows upward from workers and taxpayers to institutions and investors. Debt isn't just a transfer between countries, it's a transfer between classes. There is no single villain at the top, not China, not Wall Street, not the IMF. All of them exist, and so do we. The modern system has turned debt itself into money. Governments issue it, banks multiply it, investors trade it, citizens become dependent on it. The line between debtor and creditor has blurred. Debt once meant bondage. Today, it means balance. But if trust ever breaks, the illusion ends. And we remember what debt really is, a promise that can never be held forever. If this gave you a new perspective, subscribe. History holds the answers. I'll show you where to look.